Hi, I'm Junior Tebow, and I'm coming to you to ask you kind of a weird question, but it's a question I would love your opinion on. This here, right here in the picture here, is Jesus Christ, Jesus of Nazareth. Um, okay, so here's the thing, okay? As long as I could remember, we always called him Jesus. We always had something. If you named him, he is my Savior, he is my Lord. Uh, I have no dispute about that. If you do, that's up to you. But what if the name Jesus does is not his correct name? By that I mean is there's a few issues with the name that we have to take into effect. One, everybody knows Jesus is spelled Jesus. But why? How can that be when the letter J did not exist in Jesus' time? Because it kind of gives me to believe that his name did not start with a J, because how can you start a name with a letter that did not exist? Now, here's a little bit of history to back that up. The answer I asked Google, seeing when did the letter J was actually incorporated into the alphabet, it wasn't until the year 1524. There was no letter J in the alphabet. So the letter J was originally the same as I. The father of J is whatever, other than that. So, how can the letter J be used in a current name? That was one of the questions I was asking myself. Could you swap out the J with an I? According to that, you can use the J in the I. I totally believe that Jesus' real name in Hebrew, which would have been around the time he would have been talking these type of languages, because I believe that Jesus spoke more than one language. Now, did people walk up to Jesus whenever he was at that time and say, "Hey Jesus, hi Jesus," or whatever? No. I believe that they used the name as seen here, Yeshua. So when they talked to Jesus at that time, they didn't call him Jesus. They called him, I know it's a translation of it, and it actually translates, we'll talk about that in a second. It actually translates kind of the Jewish name for Jesus, or it starts with a Y. So I believe when they were talking to Jesus at that time, they would call him the word Yeshua. Now, let's look at the word Yeshua. Okay, Yeshua is the Hebrew name for Jesus. It means Yehweh or Yeshua. Lord is salvation. The English spelling of Yeshua is Joshua. Okay, however, when translated from Hebrew into Greek, in which the New Testament was written, the name Yeshua becomes, that's where we come into the I, Jesus, or the English spelling for Jesus is Jesus. So that's the English spelling of what it would be. But English did not exist at the time of Jesus's, or it didn't exist in that region of it. So are we really calling him by the real name that he really went by? Or does it really, to me, it really doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is, it's kind of an interesting thing to me that, you know, what is wrong with saying the real name, or calling him Yeshua, or calling him Jesus? It doesn't really matter what you call him. But the thing is, if you want to be historically accurate, his name was not something that didn't exist at the time. So you can almost put an I in front of, was he Jesus? That's kind of the type of things I was trying to think about when I was thinking of this video. Because the thing is, if we're getting this interpretation or this translation wrong, or it's not quite correct, you got to ask yourself 2 or 3 questions. One, he couldn't have been called Jesus at that time, or like the word Jesus when they spoke to him at that time, because that J, the letter J, did not exist. So I believe that they called him Yeshua. Yeshua, the Lord. So that's my kind of thinking on it is, a lot of people like, it doesn't really matter what his name was. It's what to me, it's the same thing, it doesn't matter what his name was. It's just kind of a fun fact that I like to think of, and a lot of people would think of from time to time, is that Why can't I go around with a Yeshua, cross or Yeshua or whatever, and they won't know what you're talking about. Because I believe at the time, if you were going to go up to Jesus or you were going to go up to Yeshua, you would call him in that language, Yeshua. That's just something I kind of think about. I would love to hear y'all perspective on it. I mean, it doesn't matter where I can call him Yeshua, I can call him Jesus, I can call him Jesus, because it just said that the letter J was really used as the letter I. But my question is how can they use a letter that was created almost 600 years ago when Jesus was around almost 2,000 years ago? That's kind of a thinker there, isn't it? On the next video, we're going to learn more.